What's up, you guys? Nomicon here, bringing you my perspective as to what entertainment is bringing us. And today, I'll be talking about Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, released in theaters on May 22nd, 2008. It was a commercial success, grossing over $790 million over a $100 million budget. It was the second highest grossing film of 2008, only being surpassed by The Dark Knight. However, critically speaking, it was extremely divisive, with criticism drawing from predictable story, bland characters, visuals not looking to par, and had some scenes that were deemed absurd even by casual standards. It has a 77% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The film stars Harrison Ford, Kate Blanchett, Karen Allen, Ray Winstone, John Hurt, and Shia LaBeouf. The film was directed by Steven Spielberg and was distributed by Paramount. The film stars Indiana Jones, where he was kidnapped by Soviet Russians, led by Irina Spalko, the main villain of the film. She also kidnapped Indy's friend George McHale. The reason why the Russians need them is to find an alien corpse that was related to the Roswell incident. As he escapes from the hangar at Nevada, as Indy escapes from the hangar at Nevada, he goes to teach at Marshall College. He was called for an indefinite leave of absence and was told to leave the country. And so he did just that until Mutt Williams tells him about a treasure called the Crystal Skull, which was founded by Harold Oxley, a former colleague of Indy's. Mudd also says that a friend named Mary was also part of the expedition, and so Mudd called in Indy because Mary is Mutt's mother, and was told that Indy is a friend of hers, and so Indy accepts the offer and goes to Peru to find them. I thought the film was pretty good. Crystal Skull is actually the first Indiana Jones film I have ever watched. I remember watching it while buying a lot of films digitally in demand. My mom was not a fan of it, but I got to watch a lot of movies during that time, Crystal Skull included. So I owe a lot to this film because it introduced me to this legendary franchise. I do want to say that I like the story of this movie. It kept me engaged for being interesting enough. I also really like the set pieces in this movie. Some of the cinematography looked absolutely beautiful. I also really like the characters of this film. Indy they didn't change anything about Indy. He's just himself, which is great. Marion being involved is neat. She came in this movie to resolve the relationship between her and Indy. Mudd Williams, played by Shia LaBeouf, I really liked him. He was a cool inclusion. He felt like a young adult Indiana Jones if he was a lot more reckless. He wasn't annoying. He knew what was the limit, and he can actually use the sword. Speaking of swords, the action is cool as well. You can tell that Harrison Ford has still got it despite his age at the time, but there are some scenes that are pretty questionable. For one instance, there was one part where Indiana Jones went on a fridge because a nuke was about to blow up, and so it did. The fridge landed on the ground multiple times. On the ground. Normally blood and guts should be everywhere. But Indy got us scot free. Like, what the fuck is up with that? That doesn't make any sense. Really? Really? You haven't thought about that? Also, there's also this one scene where Mutt go hangs around the swings around the vines pretty seamlessly, while having these CGI monkeys around. It's yeah, I did say that some of the scenes look beautiful, some of the cinematography looked beautiful, but this is not one of those scenes. It looked so off to me. It didn't look that great to me. Overall, I actually really like this film. I thought this was pretty cool. Um, I don't really hate it as much as any other people, but do I? Is this like? I don't think this is a top three. I wouldn't put this. It's definitely not better than Raiders or Crusade. I would say that much, but this may be a hot take for most of y'all, but I prefer this over Temple of Doom. I definitely prefer this over Temple of Doom. I do appreciate Temple of Doom being really dark, being the darkest film in the franchise. I don't think the story worked. I don't think what the story did worked for me. I didn't care for the side characters as much as the side characters from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Short Round is really cool, but the female counterpart from Temple of Doom, no, no, absolutely not. But enough rambling. Yeah, Crystal Skull is cool. I like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It's yeah. I I don't I do suggest you keep this with an I do suggest you watch this film with an open mind. If if you did hear all this controversy revolving around Crystal Skull, it's probably because of the high expectations that uh the Last Crusade brought. Like it was literally like almost 20 or 30 years since Last Crusade came out, before Kingdom of the Crystal Skull came out. So expectations were high. They were sky high. But looking back at it now, it's a pretty good time. I would say it's a pretty good time. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull gets a B plus. Yeah, it gets a maybe a B. Yeah, around B plus or B. So it's a damn good time. There are some pretty absurd. There are some pretty absurd scenes, but if you ignore those, yeah, if you if you just watch the whole thing and go through all that, it's a really good time. I would say that. Otherwise, have you seen Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? If so, did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And if you want to, you can also follow my Instagram, Backlogged, and Letterboxd down in the description down below. You can also join my Discord server if you want to, also down in the description down below. Anyways, this is Namicon, and I'll see you next time.